You're right. You're right. What are you? Oh, you're there. Oh, you're right. So you're probably thinking, what on earth? How does he do it? How does he look so good? It's easy. I just drink lots of coffee and I eat lots of biscuits. And that's how I look so good. Thank you very much. Currently not shaving or cutting one's hair. Looking fantastic. You know, I'm self-deprecating here. Anyway, you don't want to listen to me slurping coffee. I thought I'll make a quick video. I got all inspired because the last video that I did, how do I turn down the level to my headset? Because my God, it's loud. Mixer, do that. Headphones level, mic monitor, turn down. There you go. It shouldn't affect the level you get, but it's certainly stopping my ears bleeding. Right. First things first. It's getting close to Christmas. And I like it. I like Christmas. So I have here, if I can show you, my iPad. All right, that's my iPad. If I press that button there, nothing happens. There we go. I will turn it up for you. There you go. Can you hear that? Now, because it's Christmas, I'm going to press this button here. And in a second... Hear that? There you go. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's free. It's all free. It's all free. Press that there. Hey? I can change the bass drum. Yeah, you've not tuned into this video to watch that, so I'm just going to turn that. That's my music. And I'll tell you why, because of DMCA. There's issues around it. So I need to have it quite quiet because it's a little bit, it just loops forever. I'm going to come to DMCA in a minute. I'm going to talk about Fairytale of New York being censored again. Every year it happens. I'm going to talk a little bit about Section 230. I'm going to talk about DMCA, and then I'm going to promote myself a little bit. So let's go straight into it by pressing this button. There I am. Look, I'm in a wee box now. I've spent lots of time fiddling and tinkering, and I'm glad to see that I've got it wrong already. The Chrome window needs to be under there. There you go. Boom. Right. So, Fairytale of New York will not play the original version because the lyrics are a little bit rude. Personally, I have no problem with the word fairy, but that's what they've decided to do. And there's other lyrics as well, apparently, that they're going to get rid of. But originally the song's by Kirsty Wark and Shane Ritchie, and it was written deliberately. It was actually written about Ireland originally, but it was actually a challenge from Elvis Costello. Elvis Costello challenged Shane Ritchie from the Pogues to write a song that's a miserable song about Christmas, a non-jolly Christmas song, and that is how the song came to be. And because we as the public are incapable of having any sort of understanding about this is something from a passage of time about how people in Ireland may have spoken to one another, or Irish people in New York might have spoken to each other, we are incapable of understanding any sort of context around that. And I don't know. I can't think that particular line, the F line, the F word that comes out. People love singing that, and they're not homophobic, and that's what people don't understand. And I can't think. I'd be really surprised if any gay person who's not an activist would be offended by that. I'd be genuinely surprised. I'm not going to start playing my gay friends cards, but to try and prove that I'm not homophobic. I can pretty much guarantee that any straight man would love their girlfriend or wife to be bisexual. I think they would. Is that right? Yeah, no, they would love that. It's like, Craig, do you mind if I bring home Sharon tonight? Oh no, that'll be fine. I can't think anyone would have any sort of problem with that. But So they're going to censor the song. Do I think they should censor the song? I don't know. Who cares, really? I mean, if BBC want to have their really watered down little closeted world, and they think people are going to want to continue to give them money for that, then off you go. It doesn't bother me personally. I'm all right, Jack, because I don't have a TV license. I don't pay for it. I don't want it. I don't watch it. And it's not out of nastiness or anything like that. I genuinely want there to be a BBC. I'm not like one of these guys from defund the BBC. I think we should have it. It's still there. I think we should have it, but it's not for me. I found myself not watching it. And when I realised it was the most expensive entertainment service, streaming service I was paying for, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a streaming service, because I can't see the difference now. I watch YouTube on my TV. I watch Netflix on my TV. I watch Amazon Prime on my TV. And if I did watch the BBC, I'd watch BBC on my BBC TV. Now, I can get BBC to my TV. I don't know how. But if I plugged in the aerial, I could. And I have done, and I thought, should I just cheekily, be one of these people? And I just didn't want it. I said, I don't want it. I don't want it. So I could get it if I wanted, and I could cheat. But just the fact that you're a cheat if you don't pay for it, it's not right. It's not the right thing to do. So I didn't want any part of it. I don't miss it. Even though, ironically, I make programs for them, so I can't watch them later. So, BBC Radio 1 will not play the original version of Fairytale of New York by the Pogues, Kirsty MacColl, this Christmas because the audience may be offended by some of the lyrics. Who's deciding that? The station said young listeners were particularly sensitive to the rugged determined. Well, whose fault is that? I don't know what's wrong with universities, that all universities are bringing up young people to be virtually unemployable by half of the country. Half of the businesses won't want to know these kids who are unable to cope with words without absolutely freaking out. So I don't know why diversity of even just like emotion. We're not encouraged. People are not encouraged to become. We are encouraging people to be emotionally immature as they go into the real world, and I don't think it's right. I think that people you should learn that the world is going to throw all sorts of things at you that are going to try and upset you, try and make you annoyed. There was one golden rule. You cannot be responsible for how other people feel, so don't try and change how they feel. And likewise, they cannot be responsible for how you feel, so don't let them. You decide how you feel. If they say something that they're trying to upset you, water off a duck's back. Ignore it. All they're doing is telling you that they're a bit of an idiot. So ignore that. It's me. I'm a bit preachy this morning. So that's that. And I must remember to change my camera back if I start ranting. So they've changed the song. They've edited it out. I quite like to hear the edit just for the fun of it. But I've got no interest in that's wrong. BBC needs to sort yourself out, reassess your staffing, get people who are a bit more robust, a little bit more across nuance, historic significance. If the people like songs that have historically got words in that the modern day doesn't really accept, that is not the BBC's job to police it and try and change our minds. Obviously, I know the BBC mottos is inform, educate, and entertain, but you're not informing us. We already know, and it's not entertaining. It's not entertaining to have a censored world put to us. And I say what's particularly, and you're gonna love this, by the way. Look at this. This is an article in the BBC from 2007, 18th of December 2007. BBC Radio 1 has said it will stand by its ban. Ooh, there's actually got the word there. I better hide that. Controller Andy Parfitt in 2007. He said, Radio 1 does not play homophobic lyrics or condone bullying of any kind. That's what Radio 1 does not do. It is always, nobody does. Who's pro that? Nobody's pro that. While we would never condone prejudice of any kind, we know our audiences are smart enough to distinguish between malicious and creative freedom in the context of this song. I do not feel that there is any negative intent behind the use of the words, hence the reversal of the decision, says the judge and jury over at the BBC. They've decided, no, it's fine, we've had a look at it, and the nation may breathe again. We've worked it out, you're all smart. You're all smart. And that was in 2007. Cut to 2020. We're not smart, look. Oh no, we've lost our smartness. The BBC decided we're not smart after all. And although still, and by wanting this, we're all homophobic. It's not the case, my friends. So, boo to you. And very upsetting. Not very upset. I'm not actually all that bothered, to you. But it's a trending story today. So I thought I'd talk about it because we care about stuff like this. Another thing that has also been happening a lot is that Twitch has had a bunch of DMCA strikes. Now, I looked up DMCA and I'm not quite sure what it means. I'm not really sure what DMCA is. As streamers worry their channels could be banned. Now, I don't really watch Twitch anymore because it's not my cup of tea at all. It's become increasingly... Let me just shake this up a bit. Hold on. Listen. Hear that? It's kind of horrifying at the same time, this music. I'll turn the bass down. Anyway, too much fun. See, this is the result of DMCA. I'm having to do this. I can't play music. I did phone up Madonna and say, can I have access to her entire catalogue? And she said, no. She wanted a $5. I said, it ain't worth that. So I'm stuck with this. Anyway, back to DMCAs. So Twitch streamers. If you don't know, if you don't know what a Twitch streamer is, then it's not surprising. Twitch was predominantly used to be just on TV, and it was predominantly for gamers so people can watch kids playing games. Now the kids are a little bit older now and they're earning lots of money, so they're kind of like still playing the games. For me, it is a sea of, again, my favorite term, emotionally immature people who are incapable, who aren't moving on in life emotionally. They're staying attached to the things that they liked as kids, and it's a little bit concerning, I think, that so many young adults are 20, 30-year-olds are still playing computer games. But having said that, I'm a total hypocrite because I think I did as well. But there was a reason for it that I can't go into. But there's so playing computer games is still very popular. But of course, because they're streaming, people came out. I'm fine. People came along and started streaming other stuff as well. And then as things grew, people started doing like little talk shows on there. And now there are girls on there who who are absolutely across what they're doing. And they're catering for the youngish audience. It's mainly blokes. I think it's like 85% male people over there. And they chuck coins and bitties and some various forms of currency at the streamers, for which they are rewarded. Now, it used to be quite clever. Like what a streamer would do is, like a girl streamer she'd wear tight leggings and a tight top and a little bit low cut, and she'd have like a whiteboard behind. And if you gave her money, she would turn round and go over to the board, which gave you a chance to check out how excellent her leggings were, right? And then she'd turn back. Now, Twitch caught onto that. I thought, well, it's a little bit on the news. So I think they put a stop to that. And now things like bikinis are only allowed if they're in an appropriate environment, what do? They get their phones and they go to the beach and they start streaming from the beach or the swimming pool, and are making an absolute killing as these young people are throwing money at them. And it's kind of weird because you can get caught up in it and it can get very addictive because you think that they like you or they know you or that in a way they're your friend, and you get very protective of them. As I hope you will me in the fullness of time. You'll be, if anyone comes at me, you'll be there to go and shout at them while I just sit here drinking coffee watching you. Good Lord, I'm 17 minutes in and I've talked about virtually nothing. Right, so DMC strikes. So they've done this, and streamers are worried. Now, I have not a strong opinion. I have a very clear opinion about this. Is of course you're going to get DMC strikes. You don't own material that you are, and this is where the big issue is. You're publishing it, and the reason they get away with it, or have been getting away with it in a way, is because the platforms that this stuff is on, let's turn this music around a bit, is the platform that they're on is they say they're not a publisher, and this was because of Section 230, which I'll talk about in a second. But so as a result, because this is all new, right? This is all new. We're all finding our feet, but all these like young people were essentially streaming other people's music. Now, when YouTube started, and I'm old enough to be around, to have been around then, I uploaded video after video right off the bat, and I had commercial music over every song. Me looking miserable, walking across the beach of Bridlington, listening to Every Day is Like Sunday, or rather you were, and I was looking fantastic. I'm lost, and how could a girl never go out with me? Look at me, I'm Morrissey. You know, and you'd play your theme songs to yourself, videos to yourself. Well, I did, and of course it all got struck pretty quickly as they developed ways of doing that. You know, and your stuff would get struck even if you weren't making money out of it, because you didn't really monetize videos back then. You just did it for the art of doing it, or the fun of having a video up on the internet. So the DMCA strikes, of course, are going to happen, and Twitch, I think, have deliberately and knowingly turned a blind eye to it, and as a result, they kind of are hosting a bunch of commercial music that it's all commercial music that's been played to help these young. So Twitch are a company that make money, owned by Amazon. The people on Twitch who are monetized, all the partners on there, are making money. Everyone's making money, apart from the people who are contributing to the content, which is the music. But the streamers and Twitch feel, oh, it's really bad that you're asking us to not use your music anymore. That's not fair. And it's like, I don't understand why people didn't bother. Well, I do understand why they didn't bother, but people didn't bother. Who's going to bother actually thinking about it? Who's going to bother checking to see if what they're doing is legal or not from a copyright point of view? But you know, people knowingly putting music out there they don't own. I'm different because I've worked in television and I know the damage that can be done from using commercial music when you're not supposed to. When I was given a tour of Television Centre at the BBC, like the first week of me becoming somebody who was working there as a trainee there, I was told the horror story about using the Mission Impossible music and how it was used on a very small segment on a show that went out on BBC 1 or 2, I don't know. And they used a little excerpt from Mission Impossible, and the bill was like 50 odd grand, which back then was astronomical. But of course, they could charge what they wanted. You didn't get our clearance to use our song to help you make money in your broadcasting business. So we want a cut. But it was more of a slap on the wrist. This has to stop. And they're protecting themselves. So these takedowns have to happen. The industry has to protect itself. And I think that's kind of understandable. And these are artists, after all. These are people, they're not streamers, right? Streamers are, you know, they deserve reward for the work and effort they put into what they do. But what about the musical artists who are having their stuff just taken for free and used willy-nilly on these streams? Now, a lot of streamers say, oh no, we totally understand, we just didn't realize. But what they don't think is fair is that their VODs, their video on demands, their past clips all have to be taken down as well. Well, I don't see the problem with that. Just take them down. Just delete them all. What's your issue? Start again. It's pretty much the same for everybody, so what's the big difference? But if you look at this article here, it's got Devon Nash, who is I don't know who he is. He says, it is insane that Twitch informs partners they deleted their content and that there is more content in violation despite having no identification system to find out what it is. The solution to DMCA is for creators to delete their life's work. This is pure gross negligence. No, it's not. Devon Nash. It's not gross negligence. It was negligent to put that material up there in the first place. Twitch doesn't owe you anything. You signed up an agreement that you own the material. There's always been in the terms and conditions rules about what you can and can't put up on your stream. And they've always said don't use material that you don't own. You have to own it. I don't know what he's talking about here. But, you know, obviously he's going to curry a lot of favour with his followers if he says stuff like that. Plus, he's dipping his toe into, as I am, a story that is trending currently. So he's got to have some sort of take on it. I'm not going to go on to reading much more about that, but it does bring me into section 230, which is no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider, information, interactive computer internet provided by the information of the recipient of the understanding provider. It's all gobbledygook. What this basically does is it protects companies like Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, who else? YouTube, any of these platforms where people are uploading material, those platforms are protected from copyright claims against them, or you know, say I put a tweet out that slandered Tom Hanks, and as a result of that, he didn't get any work anymore. He could sue me if I was the reason that he can't get any work anymore, right? That's slander. But why are Twitter not having any responsibility for it? So to prevent Twitter being sued by Tom Hanks for publishing that, as the publisher, the Section 230 came along to protect them. And I should really look into why it came along to do that. I'm sure somebody, if you know, tell me, let me know down below. I'd be interested to know, in layman's terms, why Section 230 exists. Because I think that these platforms do have to take a responsibility for it, especially when they're the size they have got to now and the wealth that they have now. It's clearly a process that has benefited them. You know, they certainly wouldn't be as wealthy if they were getting sued left, right, and centre, or if they were taking a lot more accountability for the sort of horrendous stuff that people put out. I mean, the key to this is if people are going to be held to account, if say Twitter says we're not responsible, it's the user that's responsible. In that case, there should be something to make sure that the user can be held accountable, and there isn't at the minute. You can be anonymous on Twitter, you can be anonymous pretty much on YouTube, I think, and there's ways around Facebook. And I know there is because I created an anonymous account on there myself under the name of Fluctibus Flood, which I never used, but I was quite surprised I was able to do it. I just created a Gmail address with that name and uploaded it, and yeah, absolutely, confirm. Yeah, you want a mobile number? Here you go. Here's a SIM card I bought for £5 from Tesco's. You know, it was dead easy to get verified with an anonymous name, and now that's why I kind of like ditched that name, you know, and used my real name, which is Craig Duncan, and I've decided that I need to take more responsibility for what I say and what I do, and I think everyone else does. So if you're a streamer, you have to take more responsibility, or you have to grow up and sort it all out. And you do, and streamers do. They do this. When they start having a big audience and the stakes rise or raise, they start taking a lot more care about it. Dr. Disrespect was just saying on his stream last night about he takes care of the artists. And he does on his videos. If you go and watch them, youtube.com/Dr. Disrespect. Amazingly brilliant videos, because he actually budgets and has made a business out of this by doing it properly, treating it like a proper, no, I shouldn't say proper, that's a bit judgmental, but like a traditional production company, like a business. He's not a kid in a bedroom anymore, and he knows to do that. He knows that he's not an editor, so get an editor. He doesn't do graphics, so get a graphics person. Get moderators. I wouldn't be surprised if the moderators get something for helping him. And all the music that he uses, they get a full, massive credit on the screen, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get paid as well. So that's an example of somebody who gets it. He knows he's a total pro. Apart from the fact that he's a part-time streamer, as far as I'm concerned, and does get very, very bored very, very quickly, which is a luxury that people earning the kind of money he's earning don't get. Other people don't get that sort of luxury to be able to just like switch the computer off and go and watch the telly. I wish we could all do that on that sort of money. So Section 230 is a bad thing. I don't like it. I think it needs to be modified. I think it needs reforming. I think that the platforms do need to be protected, but I also think that they need to do more to stop encouraging anonymity on their platforms. And I think that if people are held accountable for what they say and what they do, then they tend to be a little bit better behaved. I know I did. I know I do. And that's why I do it. I'm forced to not attack an individual on Twitter. Whereas if I had an anonymous account, I could just shout anything I wanted at anyone. And what happens is it brings out the very, very worst in people in the world, which is they might not be racist, but they'll use racist terms because they know that'll really cut deep. Stuff like that. And they might do it at a time when they're in a really stinking mood. Maybe they're drunk, maybe whatever, and they'll just write something really horrible. And the next morning they wake up and they think, oh God, look what I wrote last night to that person. I won't bother deleting it. Nobody knows who I am. And I think this goes across the board in terms of stuff happening on Twitter, but also on YouTube. I was watching, there's something called Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and Brian May from Queen. I've all got a channel called Drive Tribe. And there's a small team of people who make that. And I've been watching one of the creators on there. I was watching one of her videos, which is kind of like behind the scenes of Drive Tribe. And on it, there was like a guy who they said, oh, now we're going to shoot some shots, sort of car follow shots, which now I've done this. It's where you sit in the back of a vehicle with a camera and you're driven down the road, and the subject that you're filming drives behind you, and you sort of film them out the back of the vehicle. Now, I've done this. I did it on a show called Antiques Road Trip for BBC, made by STV, Scottish Television. ITV company making a show for the BBC. Can you see any problem with that? I can. So I was making that show. Not against those particular companies, by the way, just generally how the BBC needs to start making its own content again. But that's another conversation entirely. So I was out, so that's what you do. And when I did that, I would be harnessed in, attached to the actual body of the vehicle through one of those like loops that they have bolted into chassis of the vehicle. So, and the camera tripod was strapped down also to the chassis of the vehicle, and as was the camera. Nothing could fall out. That vehicle could be lifted by its nose into the sky, and I wouldn't fall out and the camera wouldn't fall out. And we'd have the tail up on it, right? And we would film the contributors in the car and the radio mics and stuff. When I was watching Drive Tribe, which is a YouTube channel, which is a big budget thing, it's like, this is a big company. They were just popping into the boot of the car. Now, to be fair, I couldn't really see very well what if he was actually harnessed in, and maybe he was, but it got me thinking, like, how many people aren't, because it did look like he was literally just holding a steady cam rig of a DSLR or something as they were driving down the road. And it wasn't a private road either, because I could see other parked vehicles there. It was a public road. And I started thinking about that and how that will probably have to change as well in the fullness of time. And this all comes into Section 230 and accountability. Who's responsible for that? Are YouTube responsible for promoting unsafe practice? because these big production companies are now taking charge of YouTube channels, and they're realizing that we're generating massive audiences. Even if you're generating micro audiences, this is big. This is a big deal. So things on YouTube in terms of broadcasting law and what we do as we start to make money on YouTube, things are going to change, and they're going to change quite drastically. My God, it's half an hour in, and I've not quite. Well, I pretty much have finished. I think I should probably wrap it up there. What do you think? I'm interested to know, because I think my shtick is, my thing is, I'm talking about broadcast media and anything happening in television. I'm a self-shooting producer director. I'm not a full-time YouTuber, so I'm interested in talking to anybody about anything to do with pointing cameras at stuff, filming stuff, films, scripting, lighting, anything at all, technology. I'm actually, I will dip my toe into anything that the media is doing, and it's never been a more interesting time. And I think that we're going to see things changing drastically quite soon, and it's all to do with accountability and who's accountable for what, and because people are pretty much saying whatever they like, behaving whichever way they want. But another quick story. I was filming in Jordan, a documentary for Discovery, and I was like the producer and director. So, but I wasn't operating any cameras. There was a camera guy there, and he was brilliant, and a brilliant sound recordist. And we're filming in this ruined castle really high up on a mountain. It was like a thing about the Ismaili assassins, and we had like a historian with us, and we were just doing some general shots out windows. And there was like this room we were in, which just like had the entire wall missing and a sheer drop. It was terrifying, and it was all crumbly sandstone. And there's a little bit of that went up quite high, about maybe 12 feet, and it jutted out. And the camera guy says, "I'm off up there. That's going to be amazing." I said, "You're not going up there, my young man. That's well off the risk assessment." And he says, "No, I'm going to do it." I was like, "What do? You can't stop him. You can't physically stop him." I says, "Well, I can't." So you have to, I mean, what you do is you record on camera a risk assessment. I tried to stop him. He wouldn't want to do it. I've told him what I think the dangers are. I can't, I don't know. You just have to do a little bit of a risk assessment, which is that this is way too dangerous and he shouldn't do it. And he's been told that. Right, which makes you no friend of the crew for the rest of the shoot. They're like, "Who's this guy?" Because it will have been the first time they've ever encountered that from someone. But he went up and he got a brilliant shot, and we used it in the edit. And should maybe, I've actually had somebody comment about that, like, "Oh, you still used the shot though, didn't you?" So I didn't edit it, by the way. It was edited by somebody else. It was passed on, so I did mention it. I did do an email about it to cover my back. I remember that. But it just gets seen that you're complaining and whinging. But what if he died? When you're on a shoot and you're the producer, the person in charge, just by the definition of the role, and it's probably in the small print of some contract, if it goes to court, you will be hauled in front of a judge and a jury and asked to explain yourself. Why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? You can't physically stop somebody from doing something, so you have to produce evidence to say, "I did everything I could," and then it's fine. But if you just went along with it, you're in trouble. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Just quickly before I go, if I could, my YouTube channel is up. It's got a bunch of walking videos here. They are going to be coming down from this channel soon, because I have popped them all over onto my, where is it? Where's my other channel? Excuse me. Here it is. So I'm popping them all over to this channel here, which is my walking channel. Look, I've got 84 subscribers. Come on! What's wrong with you? I've only got 84 subscribers. I've got to get, I think I've got to get like 1,000 before I can monetize that thing. So ad free. If there's any ads on that channel, then I can assure you it's nothing to do with me. Likewise, I'm on Twitter. Come and say hello. There's the flooded Twitter account. And likewise, there is the me account. And that is pretty much it. I have appreciated you watching and listening to my music. I'm very interested to hear from people if you have a solution to music and streaming. I want something like this. I want to be able to manage the music as I go. This is an app called Launchpad. And I purchased a bunch of these loops. And it's basically a bunch of loops that are all in time with each other. So I am interested in other solutions. Before I do go, though, I am getting really... I want just on that briefly. On my videos, I write all my own music, which was a decision I made. Just get rid of this. It was a decision I made. So I do them in GarageBand. And I thought I'd just play it. This is my newie one. Here we go. Hold on. There you go. That's me singing live. So I've got a bunch of stuff over on GarageBand there. So mental, busy, and creative, and exciting and fun, and I'm really enjoying it. I just got a couple of really good comments on the last video I made, and that filled me up with inspiration to do some more. So keep them coming. Encourage me, because I do enjoy doing this. I try not to be controversial, or I punch up. I never punch down. I try and be fair and balanced about everything I do. And I'm interested in meeting you and having a chat. So not in person, obviously. That would be horrific. I would hate to meet you in person. That would be too weird. But by all means, I'm interested to meet your thoughts and your ideas. And on that bombshell, I will say goodbye and thank you. And then, hope your day is great.